Hey guys, coming at you again with another video of mine this week, and I thought this time I'd share with you a view that I have, which sort of came about today, and I thought I'd make a video about it. So here's some context with it. Today I had to take my grandmother to the hospital to get for one of her eye injections, whatever it is. Don't worry, it's one of those things I had to do every couple weeks or so. But one of those things where every time I go there, I always have to find a book or anything to read because it just spends there, hours there being bored. And the book I took with me is a book called The Wicked and the Divine. Yeah, it's a great comic book. I recommend it to everybody. But the main focus on it is about gods and goddesses, which is sort of what I want to talk to you about today. Because I always have a weird fascination with them. The notion of gods and goddesses, it's sort of a little fun, interesting thing that I've learned that I like over the years. And it's one of those things where I didn't think I liked it at all, especially the whole religious aspect of it. But I suppose it's more fun in my mind. And it mainly started when I looked at Norse mythology, because that's sort of my jam in terms of the whole pantheon of gods and goddesses and all that stuff. Where the more I dove into that little area of what are these people, what are these gods like, what do people learn about them, the more I sort of learned that I like that idea more. Once I was done with Norse mythology in terms of learning, I looked at that. Was like the Greek mythology, I looked at Egyptian ones, I looked at a lot of things. I like the notion of there being multiple huge entities in terms of one. And I don't know where it stemmed from. I think it might stem from the fact that for full disclosure, I'm Catholic, so the idea of one God is all that, So it's all that fact that when I rejected that and became an atheist, I sort of looked at things in another way. Because a lot of these things about the world right now is that I always have to look at the notion that a lot of people believe there's just one God. And I always look at that and just think that's kind of boring, That's one, being that can control everything. That's kind of dull, And with the other notion that all the gods and goddesses that we all believed, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and also thousands of years ago, is just nonsense. It's just stories and weird notions that we told everybody. But that sort of undermined the whole prospect of religion to me. At least in my point, it was one factor of it. Where Catholic schools helped with that. With me becoming an atheist. But the whole point of being that why is that notion that there's a pantheon of beings choosing the fate of the world for and now there's just one who decides everyone's fate no matter what. I didn't like that idea a lot, so I did that. So that was one of those things where I always wondered, why did we stop doing that? It's more fun to just do that. It goes a little bit further that sometimes where I want good luck to happen and people do the quiet, pray to God and all that. I sort of just think in my head to be okay, pray to the gods and goddesses, because I just sort of think, well, save me time. If there's only one, they're not gonna complain. And if there's multiple, I get to do it to all of them. That's always fun to me, because it's always the notion that there's one God for everything seems too much. I like the idea that there's little ones for everyone else. Plus, the stories you get to read from all these places is so amazing. One of the books I read on Norse mythology was by Neil Gaiman, who is one of my favorite authors. I've dozens of his books. I keep on reading them. But I mean, the stories of Odin and Thor and Loki and the Jotunheim and Helheim and all that stuff, all the stories that they had were just more fun. The idea of gods having to do hurdles or everything else, how they perceived everything else, instead of just one god, dictating the lives of humans, where some of the stories are fun, but not all of them. That's also the case as well, that a lot of these paintings are stories where they're meant to be that kind of, hurdle for other people. Whereas the Christian one and everything else is just one huge deity acting on the human's behalf. Instead of the god themselves actually acting in the story. Which, I think makes it kind of dull. Why don't, They always seem to be this unknown figure of pure light and energy, whereas these are other ones which I've read about, in Greek mythology or in Norse mythology, they used to have faces. They used to pretend to look like people or these human beings to a degree. They have their own ways of the world. They have their own ways of how you perceive them. Because I like the idea of gods being more than just one look at them. You know, like a God of War could be more than what they are. You know, the God of the Sun could be more than anything else. You know, I like that notion, and it sort of brought me on to those views, especially when I was reading The Wicked and the Divine. You know, the idea of modern gods living in today's world and, you know, the span of everything else. It's why I kind of like that kind of notion. The ideas of challenging religious things in human beings. It's why I like the Sandman comics. It's why I like Lucifer as well, including the TV show. Yeah, I know it's not that big, but it's fun. The idea of challenging things, where it's like those kind of notions of powerful beings put in human situations, where it's just fun, where you sort of look at it through their eyes and it's like, you shouldn't have a problem, you're a god, you can do almost anything you want, and yet they have to have the same hurdles as the rest of us, which sort of makes them more human to me, and also makes them better. Oh wait, not better, but in the sense of like, it's more streamlined than just an overarching figure who, you know, has no coordination to anything, can be unexplained, or can be seen as evil, a dictator, or ignorant, you know. That's one of the things that sort of turned me off religion, to a sense of like, I didn't like the fact that there was just no one to answer to. At least with the other religions out there, you at least had someone to blame, you know. One God can't love and hate you at the same time. That's just kind of, you know, one answer. It's really boring. Really just point out the fact that a lot of my religious views are just me thinking, this is boring, I want to look at more interesting stuff, you know. Like Buddhism, that's more fun. You know, it's like reincarnation to different animals or human beings. Like, that's fun. Why did you want to do that? But anyway, yeah, that's kind of like my little view that I wanted to explain to you. But now it just sort of happened today because I thought, why not share with you a little bit of an interest of mine. Yeah, anyway guys, that does it for this video. I hope you mind my ramblings or whatever I just did. I thought, you know, last one was a bit more dark, and I thought I'd just share you something that I generally thought was interesting, that I liked, and it's a hobby of mine. Anyway guys, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to, like, you know, watch more of these videos, or you want to try and, you know, give me some input, whatever, like and subscribe. I'd love to hear from any support or anybody who agrees with my, you know, interest in that sort of area. Anyway guys, that's it. Bye.